Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, I am sharing a bunch of techniques on how to use foil on cards. Plus, I'll be sharing the brand new fairy tale foils from Therm O Web. Today's video is another episode in my Support Small Card Making Businesses series, and I will link to the rest of that playlist up here for you. So let's jump right into some really fun and easy foiling techniques. For this first technique, you don't need a laminator, you don't need any special tools, you just need Therm O Web Deco foils and their double-sided adhesive foam. I've showed this technique in cards really quickly before and I got some questions on it, so I really wanted to break it down how easy it is and how little you need to apply foil and get great results. Here are the 5 brand new Therm O Web iCraft Deco Foil Fairy Tale Transfer Sheets. Starting from the top, they are Enchanted Rose, Peach Princess, Lily Pad, Glass Slipper, and Prince Periwinkle. I absolutely love these new colors and can't wait to use them on everything. The iCraft Deco Foil Foam Adhesive is a thin, double-sided adhesive foam that comes in 6x9 sheets. I'm going to use the Honeybee Shine Honey Cuts die. I love the 2 shadow layers that you can cut out for the shine die cut word. I'm going to die cut both shadow layers from the adhesive foam. To foil the bottom shadow layer, I'm going to peel off the top protective sheet on the double-sided adhesive to reveal the adhesive, and then I'm just going to place it on my work surface because the adhesive is facing up. Then I'm going to grab a foil transfer sheet, and I am using Enchanted Rose here. I'm going to lay it on top of the adhesive with the foil side facing up. So the silver side is going to face down and stick to the adhesive. Then you want to rub with your finger but not your nail, and then slowly peel off the foil to reveal your foiled shape. If you missed any spots, you can press on them with a spot of the foil that still has color. For the top shadow layer, first I'm going to peel off that back protective sheet that's going to reveal the adhesive on the back, and then I'm going to lay it down onto our foiled base shadow. Once that's all done, I will peel off the top protective sheet, and this time I'm going to use Glass Slipper on top. I'm going to rub just like I did on the last one and then peel away. For the letters, I did not want them to be foiled, but they are so delicate and thin, I'm going to use Easy Cut adhesive by applying it to some white fun foam and then laying the die on the fun foam side so that after die cutting, I'm left with a white fun foam sticker with sticky backing. So I remove the back protective layer and then lay the word on my layered foiled shadow. Just being careful to lay it down carefully so that I don't have to peel it back up, and that would ruin my foiling. That double-sided adhesive foam is a favorite of mine and I use it all the time. But what if you don't want dimension and you don't want to use a laminator? This next technique then is for you. This time I'm going to use the Easy Cut adhesive to actually apply the foil rather than the double-sided foam. I peel off one protective sheet and lay the adhesive down on white cardstock. Then I place the die with the cutting side facing the Easy Cut, not the cardstock. I need to poke out all the little stars, but I'm going to set them aside and save them for later. Next, I peel off the top protective sheet and lay the foil on top. This time I'm using Prince Periwinkle. Just lay it right down on the exposed adhesive and rub. Carefully peel away the transfer sheet and you're left with a beautifully foiled die cut. Use some adhesive runner on the back to adhere the foiled die cut down to your cardstock. Grab your foiled foam sentiment and peel off the back protective layer to adhere it down to your card front. You just need to know exactly where you want to place it because the foam is very sticky, and if you accidentally place it, you can't peel it back up without ruining your foil. Next, take some of the tiny stars that we had set aside and peel off that protective layer, which is actually going to be the top, and then place it down on the foil or lay the foil on top and then peel the stars off. And you can use those as accents. You just need to adhere them with a little bit of liquid glue. For this technique, we're going to use the iCraft Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo. And Duo means that once it's dry, you can either run it through a laminator or through a die cut machine. So you can either use heat or pressure to transfer the foil. And for this card, I'm using a die cutting machine and applying pressure to transfer the foil. Anytime I use stencils, I use Therm O Web's Pixie Spray and the Therm O Web Stencil Pal. I'm using a My Favorite Things stencil for this card. So I spray the back of the stencil with the Pixie Spray over my water media mat. The excess spray on the mat keeps my cardstock in place, and the spray on the back of the stencil keeps it from shifting on my cardstock. I use a palette knife to scoop out some of the Duo gel and place it on my Stencil Pal. The Stencil Pal makes it really easy to get even, consistent coverage over the stencil because it is wide and flexible. You can see that since the Duo gel is wet, it is still white. I need to wait for it to completely dry and turn clear. Sometimes I let it dry overnight, but this time I simply let it dry and sit for a couple of hours. For this card, I'm going to share how I create multicolored foiled backgrounds. So I basically cut strips or scraps of foil. These are all scraps from other foiling projects that I did. And so I cut them down into small squares or rectangles and then place them over my panel. It's okay to overlap them a bit. Whichever color is on the bottom is the color that's going to transfer here. Next, I place this multicolored foiled piece inside a folded piece of parchment paper to avoid getting adhesive or foil on my cutting plates and run it through my die cut machine using the same sandwich that I use for thin metal dies. Then I peel off all the little foil pieces to reveal the multicolored foiled background. Some of my Pixie Spray was wet when I put the stencil down, and it caused little bits of foil to transfer onto the background. That's really easy to get rid of. I just rub it off with a Tombow mono sand eraser, and you can avoid that by really letting the Pixie Spray dry before you place it down on the cardstock. Just be careful when you're rubbing with the eraser that you don't rub off some foiling that you did want there. I added a popped up sentiment, and then I stamped a cupcake. To get the stamped layers to line up with the die, I like to die cut the cardstock first and place it back into the negative opening, and then I can be sure to use my MISTI and stamp both layers within the die cut and not have them cut off by the die cut if I don't stamp them the right way. I popped up my cupcake on some foam adhesive, and then I used ultrabond liquid adhesive to draw on the lines of the frosting, and then poured some honeybee sprinkles on top. And then once it's a little bit dry, just tapped on the back to shake off the excess. The Duo gel is a favorite of mine because I don't have to pull out the laminator. But because it dries clear, it's better for using on white or light colored cardstocks. If you are going to be stenciling on a dark colored cardstock and want to foil on that dark colored cardstock, you're better off using the iCraft Deco Foil Blanco gel, which actually dries white. But then you have to run it through a laminator. Let me show you this card that I created with this technique. Once again, I spray the Pixie Spray on the back of my stencil and place my cardstock on my mat and then my stencil on my cardstock. This time I'm using a stencil by Clearly Besotted and covering it with the Blanco gel. When applying these gels, it's easiest to swipe in the direction of the stencil with the Stencil Pal to get the smoothest coverage. You can see the Blanco gel looks white, whether it's wet or dry, but make sure it's 100% dry before you try and foil it. Otherwise, it's going to create an absolute mess. To run it through a laminator, place it inside a parchment paper sandwich with the foil sheet on top of your stenciled image and the foil color facing up. Run the folded edge of the sandwich into the laminator to keep the sandwich from crumpling and getting jammed in your laminator. Be sure to make sure your laminator is super hot before you do this. Once the sandwich is cool, peel off the foil transfer sheet to reveal your foiled background. The Blanco gel helps the foil show up even on the darkest cardstocks, including navy and black. I die cut the waffle flower oversized hugs die from white fun foam and adhered it to my foiled background with ultrabond liquid adhesive. I carefully lay it down because if I slide it around, the adhesive will get on the foil and dim its shine. Then I placed some ultrabond on a pink cardstock die cut of the same Hugs word die and laid that on top of the fun foam. This is a quick and easy way to get dimension from a delicate die cut. I'm using the same pink cardstock to stamp a sub-sentiment with some Gina K amalgam ink in my mini Misty, and I pop this sentiment strip up with foam adhesive. But I'm only using the foam on the left side of the sentiment because I'm going to lay the right side of the strip on my G from the Hugs die. I added a few Studio Katia rose gold confetti embellishments using my Studio Katia embellishment wand and tiny little bits of the ultrabond adhesive in order to complete this card. While you have your laminator out and it's super hot, I want to show you another way to add foiling to cards using the iCraft Deco Foil Toner card fronts. Here you can see the different patterns that are available in the toner card fronts. These A2 card fronts are printed with toner that can then be foiled with Deco foil transfer sheets when you run them through a laminator. You do have to use a laminator here. To apply the foil, place the toner card fronts inside a parchment paper sandwich, just a piece of parchment folded in half. Cut the foil to be slightly larger than the card front in case it shifts in your laminator, and place the foil on top of the card front with the foil side, the color, facing up. Insert the sandwich into the laminator with the folded edge going first to avoid crumpling and laminator jams. When the sandwiches come out, let them cool and then carefully peel off the transfer sheets. If you missed any spots, you can run them through again with a fresh piece of foil. I don't have tons of these new colors of foils, so I was fine with a couple of missed spots, and I'm just going to cover them up with my sentiments. I used tape runner to adhere cardstock squares and then adhesive foam to pop up my sentiment strips. There are tons of ways to foil on cards. These are just some easy techniques to get you started foiling and to show you the brand new Fairy Tale Deco Foil Transfer Sheets. I am so in love with these new colors. If you want to check them out for yourself, they're all linked in the YouTube description box down below. As I mentioned, I love working with foiling, so if you want to see more cards using foiling, please give this video a thumbs up so that I know. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to hit the bell so you can be notified when any of my new videos are available. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Use on cards. On cards. That sounded very robotic. On cards. One more time. One more time, you get one. Using the toner card fronts. Why is this so hard? Like seriously, I just looked at the package.